Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Game 3. Wolf, Game 3.
Jester, Game 3.
I'm going nuts. I saw myself in you. You know, Aristotle once said that that's the mark of a great friend.
Is it?
Yeah, when you see when you look at somebody, not just the glasses, but if you see, really. But he once said that if you look at somebody and you see a reflection of yourself in them, that is the mark of a true friend. However, that might have been a bit selfish, egotistical, and possibly narcissistic. So what does it say about Aristotle? Anyway, back to this game. So we've got a 1-to-1 series between Team AllStars and Team Boom.
True.
It's been a long, tense series so far.
It has.
Who's going to come out on top, do you think?
Well, we're going back to Aguilon. This was where game number 1 was. And if you recall, it was the slow creeping death of Boom. They were awarded the win because of the crash. They had an overwhelming victory. We went to game 2. Game 2, AllStars bring it back. Game 3, we're back to Aguilon. And this draft may surprise you.
Let's wave our glasses at the screen and make drafts appear.
Yeah, it worked.
Wingardium Levio drafts. Here we go.
Let us
Team
not.
AllStars.
Let us not.
Never again. Okay. So Team AllStars versus Team Boom. Game 3. Team AllStars going to ban out Penny to start things off. Boom. Banning out the Clunk. I guess that's kind of a funny way if you think about it. Then, Vinny and Spike being picked up by Team AllStars. Boom. Countering with a Froggy and a Swiggins. The Team AllStars countering with their own Leon pick and then banning out Scoop. Not wanting to see the Ice Cream Knight today. Boom, gonna ban out Coco. AllStars picking up a Froggy to finish off this lineup, and Boom picking up a Vinny and Spike. So AllStars going for the glass cannon, all aggressive kind of build. Well, and we'll see how that plays out with the Leon, the Vinny, and the Frog. Boom going for the triple dash between Frog, Swiggins, and Vinny. If they see an opportunity, they are going to collapse on it. This is going to be like the most lethal game of Jenga you've ever seen. 3 aquatic monstrosities versus a Frenchie and 2 of his friends. We'll see who comes out on top here. What do you think?
Who's the... Oh, great. I was like, where's the Leon? I could not see him. I've done so many knots this weekend. I don't know. I mean, this definitely looks very different pace compared to what we're used to. We've seen some bigger comps in terms of like the character models, Clunks and Scoldiers and Swiggins and such. But now it's almost just like, let's just throw it all to the wind and just do a rumble in the jungle.
Who do you think Harry Butchers is going to play?
Rumble in the coral. Harry Butchers?
I bet you it's the Vinny.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Harry's been Swiggins. Wow. Harry has been Scoldier for
the whole time.
The whole time. I think we've not seen him on the Scoldier. And let's see. You actually are right. He will be the Vinny.
Oh, yeah. That means that Kurt's going to be on your Leon, and then you've got your Froggy G being played by Ed Wiener. So that should be interesting. Boom.
Hello, Game Sound.
Hello, Game Sound. Welcome to Game 3.
Very pretty map.
Hello, it's purple. On the red team, like we said before, Harry Butcher's playing your Vinny and Spike. You got Froggy G being played by Ed Wiener, and finally Kurt playing your Leon, Chevy Leon.
Did a great Leon last round.
Indeed. On the blue, you've got Paolo playing your Vinny and Spike. You got Blah playing his trademark Frog for the 3rd game in a row, and Kaio playing Swiggins for the 2nd time.
Blah was Swiggins last game. Sorry, Coco.
Yes.
Coco.
My bad. I'm so used to seeing him on the Frog.
There wasn't even a Frog last game.
I know there wasn't. He was.
Drink your coffee, Wolf.
I need to drink my coffee.
But we are back to Aguilon. This was where game number 1 did occur. But again, like we had these bigger, slower comps. This, as you said, looks like very big damage, very much an all-in kind of idea. Frogs on both sides, Kaio and Paolo up against the Kurt and the Vinny. Now, I'm curious, if this isn't going to be a first blood, what is Harry Butchers going to be playing like? Because I don't see any kind of piggy banks yet. Everybody just with the base abilities, pretty much base abilities. We actually got the boots here on top of Kurt, but
and that is Crab Burgers on top of the Paolo. He decided not to go for Cloud or boots on his Vinny. He went straight into the HP regen based off the coins he picks up.
Vinny? You sure?
On Paolo, yeah. Paolo's
we have a Vinny on both sides, right?
Yes.
Maybe I should get my coffee.
Maybe you should get your coffee.
So I suspect, yeah, he's going to get the Cloud. I was actually looking at Harry because, again, like Harry has both abilities. He could go into the Cloud, but are we going to see a bit more aggressive? Because this early game burst looks pretty sick. You get a tongue into a dash, into a double dash there with the Ed Wiener, and, well, that's already doing its number. Blah losing a few hit points there. Kaio losing a few there as well.
On the other side, though, you do have triple dash. If all 3 of you are traveling at the same time and you all find the same opportunity, that is going to be a very large amount of damage just coming out of nowhere. Froggy dash, Vinny dash, and and a Swiggin's grapple. That's a lot, kind of coming out of nowhere, and it can come out practically instantly. Most pub lineups would just collapse underneath that kind of weight. They just instantly start dying. But AllStars, not your average team. Out comes the damage, though. Kurt taking a lot. He's getting body blocked, but he's going to end up surviving by the skin of his Leon teeth. He's going to just tongue that and go right back to trying to get some farm, some HP somewhere, but he's
I would have
not finding
expected him to go
anywhere.
home. Yeah. He still actually just might go home. No, he's going to wait for the spawns. All right, Harry Butchers there is actually going to get hit by that anchor. Returns the favor with some dashing, but that's going to be the first blood to the Tornado of Blah, who has been pretty on point with those tornadoes. That's almost a double first that he was able to pick up there with Kurt. Kurt, of course, did actually get out. Can't say the same for the fish. Doesn't quite have the same amount of movement speed because he is a little bit more of a floaty puffer.
Absolutely, and it makes it a little bit difficult to get away. But at the same time, there has to be something said. Blah has been sticking on people with that NATO in a way you would not expect. He's supposed to be slower whenever he's in his tornado, and instead he's managing to keep up. Managing to get a body block off every single time and doing every single tick of that NATO. And every time that NATO ticks, it's 150 damage. It's a lot of damage coming out of one ability. It's astounding that he's managed to stay on top of it that much. Now, we see a couple of important pickups already. Solar Cloud being bought up by both of the Vinnies, although one of them slightly ahead in terms of their solo farm. And so as a going home farm. So as a result, we don't quite have the Solar Crab Burgers on Harry Butchers yet, but we're getting there. We got Kaio picking up the stun now on his grapple. He's definitely going for that immobility. His team already has a lot of damage, especially considering the lineup they're up against. They just need to keep people in place a little bit longer to really get off their combo, and that explains the Kraken statue. Oh, out comes the grapple. It's going to end up missing. The drop, though, going to hit. Not for long. The anchor going to get immediately gibbed, and it's going to just disappear. That engagement going to end there. No one coming out on top of that one in particular.
No, not yet. Still only the one kill on the board, but both teams have actually been collapsing very nicely whenever they do got droid push, and we're starting to see a little bit of tower damage now coming out from both sides. It's still not a significant amount because these are very much team fighting comps. Looking to that, we're looking for the kill on top of Harry Butchers. He is running from Blah, who does not chase. Unfortunately, he falls to the wiles of gravity. Whereas, of course, the pufferfish can, of course, deny gravity a little bit. So, cruel mistress missed out a kill there from Blah, but nothing he could have done about it.
Would you say that he could even defy gravity? Anyway, the NATO coming out, going to get immediately tongued out of it, so Blah not going to be able to pick up a kill there. But yeah, as you mentioned, the fish able to defy gravity on that one, doing the whole Adela Dazim on that one. And aside from that, though, that's honestly, Vinny's got that advantage in this map. Yep. But all of the characters can move up, despite the fact that Leon can't jump up that high, and neither can the Swiggins. The Swiggins can still float, and he's gonna get that grapple drop onto Ed Wiener. Ed Wiener gonna end up dying. Now it's Paolo's turn as he's getting chased down. He's gonna end up being fine as the rest of AllStars unable to really chase him down. Kurt now taking a grapple and a drop, but Kaio gonna take the majority of the damage back as he gets tongued and then dashed.
He's going to do a little bit of farming with that Solar Cloud, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he is. Both of the Vinnies looking to do that, and out comes a grapple drop. Harry Butcher's managing not to get dropped until he's far enough away from the enemy team. Blah picking up the invis at about the 5-minute, 36-second mark. So in another 2 minutes, another one will spawn. But for now, for the next 20 or so seconds, Blah's invis. And looking to put out another dash. No NATO, though. Harry Butcher's going to get out of there alive. Going to put out another dash to harass the enemy team. And blue team now backing off. Feeling like maybe they can't quite handle an engagement when their cooldowns are down.
Well, a lot of these guys are very dependent upon their cooldowns. I mean, look at that. Harry Butchers comes right back in with that dash that could do some big numbers on the low hit point scales of basically everybody in this map. Nobody here is a built tank. Nobody here has a big base hit points. Nobody has really big innate regen abilities, except for maybe Solar Crab Burgers if you really want to get super duper picky. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, once you get those cooldowns, if you don't have anyone dead, well, they're going to use their cooldowns, and you're at the same disadvantage that they are.
What we're looking at right now, Vinny's both sitting at the exact same build. Edwin are going to pick up that invis at the 6-minute, 38-second mark, so another 2 minutes it's going to come back up. Kurt alive, Edwin barely alive, but that engagement going in the favor of Boom. But you mentioned before, there aren't a lot of tanks, but that there is a possibility that Vinny could be very hard to kill. In both cases, they got Solar Crab Burgers, and the Solar Clouds go with it. So, yeah, absolutely, they're going to be a little bit tougher to kill. They both also have Chrome Files, so going for that dash damage. Swiggins picking up the Blue Heart Medal, The Froggies now practically the exact same build as well, though Blah, slightly ahead, has also picked up Mutant Ninja Worms on his left click. So every time he hits with one of his abilities, he gets one extra boosted left click. On the other hand, you've got Leon. He's currently sitting there with backstab and tongue damage. He's roughly the odd man out here, as the Swiggins just going from normal damage. You've got the first batch of real left click damage, though, coming out on that backstab. And over a sustained period of time, that means that the red team now looking a little bit hotter. But for the immediate burst, which blue is going for, that triple dash comp is going to really give anybody who gets too close.
2-0, and so far the only people that have gotten close have actually been instigated here from Team AllStars. And it's not even like they got close. It's more about Kaio. Kaio's initiations thus far has been pretty on point. It's all about anchors and grabs and just collapsing upon him because you can't really leave out of that. So either way, going back and forth, 8 minutes in, 2-0. We're still looking for some kind of bigger advantage. Ed has now just actually used his dash and he's going to get repaid with his trouble by some bubble gums. And he's actually going to be low hit points, but that's all right. Has some farming that he can do. Tower damage up top, starting to actually look pretty dangerous here for AllStars.
It is looking pretty bad for AllStars right now, but oh, out comes the tongue. Kaio's going to end up being fine. For two aggressive lineups like this, I don't mean to be rude, but holy cow, they're both playing so safe. Like, neither team...
Oh, you're so rude, Wolf. Oh, my God. I can't believe you said that.
Both teams are so afraid of making a mistake at this stage of the game, and it's understandable. Blah going to pick up a kill on Kurt there off that well-placed grapple drop.
But you said that they were too safe. They played a little dicey, and they died.
Well, they play a little dicey, I suppose, but it's better to play dicey and go for these risks when you're behind. Otherwise, you're just going to lose and slower at that. At this point, they're behind. They need to go for something, anything at this point. And Blah is, Boom just doing a really good job of capitalizing on errors, but both teams playing so safe considering that their tournament lives are on the line. It's remarkable to see just how low the kill count is in this game based off of the characters that are playing it right now.
Remember, we got late game Vinnies, and we have seen late game Vinnies carry 3v1. Now, we actually have Vinnies on both sides, so both sides kind of going for the same angle. Boom just happens to have more solar at this present moment. That could still easily change into the mid game.
Absolutely, and take a look at the creep kills that are coming out of the two teams here. 54 of them, holding no one holding a candle to that on the blue team yet. It just seems to be that the majority of those tend to be jungle creeps. So not as much solar as his Vinny farmed friend, who also seems to have more kills on his side of the field as well. Grapple drop going to come out, not going to do a lot of damage, if any. This would be an opportunity for the red team to kind of try to find a kill, but they're not going to find one quite yet. In comes the NATO. Kaio just barely going to survive that. Now the red team coming out on top of that engagement, just slightly, but no kills yet on the board for Team AllStars.
Yeah, not yet. Kaio's actually nowhere even on the map. He's back in the fountain because he did not have the hit points to continue. He's now going to be on his way. Had we had actually any kind of big anchor pressure, could have been a bigger kill, but he got insta-gived and he had to jet. So nice pickup there from AllStars, because if they can continue to create like 2v3 situations, all they have to do then is just try to capitalize upon it. But I don't really foresee that happening in the next few moments. I mean, maybe closer, and I know you're not going to like this, to the 20-minute mark when we have closer to 2,000 solar on some of our carries here. Maybe then we'll have the big oomph that we're looking for, but apparently a turret has killed Blah.
Yeah, and in comes some more damage. If that dash had ended up landing on Kaio, Kaio would have been picked off. But a good opportunity taken there by Team AllStars. They saw that a couple of cooldowns had gone down, and Edwiener went in and dashed and nadoed and did as much damage as he could, and they ended up picking up the first kill of the game for their team. Currently 3-1 in favor for Boom. No turrets going down. All the turrets kind of taking little bits of damage here and there, though slightly in favor, it seems, of Boom, just based off the mini-map. Things looking good for Boom, but they need to be careful. They don't want to give too much of an edge to Team AllStars. If they do, they could be the end of their tournament lives at this point. Still, they need to continue to use that triple dash comp that they put together and use it to good effect.
We're missing 2 team members off the map here, although now they have returned. Harry, Butchers, and crew are here to defend, but we didn't actually go for any kind of big damage on this top. Everyone, again, playing a little bit more safer. Boom could have easily chunked it down just a tad, and I'm not too sure I like what Pablo just did there. He took the invis away from the Blah, and having an invis frog, like we had a talk during the game. Me and you said, you know, what's more frightening than an invis clunk? Well, my number 2 is an invis frog.
Yeah, invis frog, very powerful. Paolo, still very much a powerful candidate for that invisibility. He does have his 700 damage dash up and running, goldfish tax all paid up and ready to go. They just need to find that moment of collapse, and Kaio unable to quite guarantee a moment there. So they're going to go ahead and back off and continue to clear waves and get solar.
That's the name of the game right now.
It is the name of the game.
It's Solar Nuts.
Yep, Solar Nuts. But it looks like we might have a thing here. Kurt completely caught out by that anchor. That's going to be your first pick off there. Blah, extremely low. He's trying to run away from Harry Butchers. And now from Edwin. Edwin trying to get maybe a dash, but no dice there. Now Paolo going in for the 700 damage dash. Down goes Edwin. It's now 5-1. Harry Butchers gets grapple dropped, and he'll end up being fine. But that's going to be a 2-0 exchange in favor of Team Boom. Team Boom starting to use that powerful burst combo to the best effect that they can. And that solar is going to trade off really well. Out comes a bunch of bursts with Harry Butchers there. He's going to have to head home. He is by no means in a safe spot where he is right now.
I think he's thinking of this. He's thinking of it, yeah.
Yeah, he's sticking around after all. So he's going to go ahead and pick up some solar there instead. Kaio now going to head home as he's got low HP. And the triple dash combo now starting to really take off in those past couple of engagements. That worked out really, really well for them. Oh, and that turret's just not giving up. It wants that anchor dead.
It really does.
It does not like it.
No.
It does not like it at all. So, Swiggins, take it back. Take that anchor back any day now. No? Okay. Well, Ed Wiener will just get rid of it then.
Wow, that's all right. I mean, the rest of the team is here to clean up those creeps. And it would have swapped targets anyways. It's not exactly cheese that you can really capitalize on with a team like this. But either way, that double kill at the back of that was really powerful for Boom. He gave him a lot of time to land some big tower damage. They are now in position to pick up 2 turrets on the back of all this. If Harry Butchers didn't die, look what you did to me, Leviosa.
Hey, I only did the one bad joke the one time. Paolo breaking his invis to help take out this turret. The triple dash combo opting not to go ahead and pick anybody off right there and then. They do have the burst to do so, though, so it'll be a matter of time to see whether or not they decide that it's a good idea. Kurt just kind of waiting in the shadows here in the froggy ambush spot. He's just going to tongue and
to
then,
what effect?
Yeah, back off. He's going to eat a grapple, but no drop in. Wow, the damage coming out on Ed Wiener. He goes down. Kurt extremely low. He needs to be careful around those droids. He might have almost gotten humiliated there, but he's going to back off and he'll be fine. But that burst damage, very real. Boom, making very good use of it.
Yep.
And
6-1.
Yeah, 6-1. Now Vinny on the blue team. He has boots. He's a rank of pills. He has another 400 solar in the bank. He's doing very well for himself, and that 700 damage dash doing a lot of work. We'll have to see what his 3rd dash upgrade ends up being. Is he going to go for the full damage double seahorse head, or is he going to instead opt for something else?
And it's like he had 450 gold, and my first thought was, well, that's 150 by 3. He should be getting 3 stacks of that goldfish, but that'd be actually an interesting late game option. Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
Be bananas.
That's just not how it works. So yeah, he went home. He bought quite a bit. He did keep enough, though, for that tax, and he is still ever earning more with it. But as I said, they were in position, 2 towers down. Harry Butchers is back in the shop. He has now started to lose that solar war. It is being dominated by 320, 310, yeah, 320 solar at this point by the enemy Vinny.
Fair points, to be honest. And Paolo now has Silence Cloud, so that team fight option definitely going towards the blue team now that they've got that. Blue Frog, Blah, picking up the damage shield on his NATO so he can stay alive a little bit longer in these engagements. Mechanical Teaspoon and the Milk being picked up by Swiggins, so now he's a little bit harder to catch as long as he doesn't have his anchor. And that drop now does damage when the chain link breaks. So Swiggins now able to deal even more burst and catch out these low HP heroes when he sees them.
Yep. And, you know, we've been seeing this build time and time again. It's a very popular build here for our Swiggins. You know, you land the grapple, you land the anchor. Well, you know, you put all your eggs in the basket. You either hit or you don't. Very rarely do we ever see like an auto attack Swiggins. It's not impossible to see. We have seen it in a qualifier, just like we've seen Harry Butchers drop 7-1 now. But anchor did come out on top of Kurt, but it's not going to lead into any other kind of doubles going on. But yeah, more or less, the Swiggins build here, I've seen it before.
Yeah, it's nothing absolutely new, but it's certainly something important. and that's fine. Like
That's 700 burst.
That 700 burst out of Paolo doing a lot of work. Kaio taking a lot of return burst, but this could be bad. Never mind. The Froggy was nowhere near that. But Frog needs to be careful, or any low HP person needs to be careful around Vinny, because that spike dash tends to hit in an area bigger than anyone normally expects.
Yep.
And Kaio going to pick up that HP there. He's just going to go right back to farming. He's got a little bit of solar out of it. Size and another rank in pills being picked up by Paolo on his Vinny. And we've got another 100 damage before we're maxed out on our dash damage for Blah. Our damage on Edwiener, a little bit lower at 150 less than max dash damage, but still okay. We got the size. Antique machine gun being picked up by Harry Butchers to allow to hit in a much bigger area for a much safer amount, which hopefully can end up working out for them. And Kurt going for the ranged tongue, so that way he can pick off people from a distance. But right now, that triple dash combination, that ability to collapse, really going the way of Boom. 17 minutes, almost 18 minutes into this game. Boom currently leading 7-1 and 2 turrets to nothing. It's looking really good for them. It looks like that they're gonna not end up doing well in that engagement. Harry Butcher is taking the kill onto Kaio and putting themselves 2 kills on the board. That's looking good for them.
That didn't hit Blah.
It almost did.
Yeah, I saw the Harry dash looking for the frog, but did not hit. Paolo's now actually doing out with Kurt, but Kurt loses half his hit points to that dash. Now, it is going to be on reset. This is where, Kurt should turn around and hit things, but not when you're behind. If you were Leon from above, well, that's a different matter. But, geez, these 700 dashes, Paolo doing work, keeping people off of his towers, stalling out lanes, winning the solar game. Almost 2,100 now in 18.5 minutes. And the entire All-Star is actually going to take a quick rest there in their fountain. But no droid waves are really pushed out here, so they're not really going to suffer too much for it.
No, and now that they have Kurt with ranged tongue and silence on the tongue, they now have a counter, an answer to Boom. They just need to use it aggressively and often to try to pick off one of these squishier characters like Frog or Vinny, and just kill them before they can do anything, and put that 3v2 option back off, get the HP that they need to survive, and then go right back into it, causing a lemming effect. So All-Stars by no means out of this, but they need to play very aggressively and very carefully if they aim to take back a spot in this best of 3 and continue their tournament ambitions.
Yeah, this is basically tournament life. Whoever wins will move on. Whoever does not will land into the 5th and 5-6 slot, which means that they go home with skins and copies of the game.
Well, skins and copies of the game still very useful, particularly if you want to get more friends into this. It's a good game, obviously. Go figure. People are playing it for money right now, and a really large amount of that. But as this stands, still fighting for it. We've got a couple of interesting upgrades being picked up. We got Antique Machine Gun now being picked up by Paolo, so he's got the same amount of AoE that Harry Butchers does. But on top of that, Boombox being picked up by Blah, so he's pretty confident that he'll land all of his NATO ticks. Boombox able to put out a lot of damage, so we'll see how that works out for him.
Well, Boombox is a very common kind of build. Jeez, I can't even hit hotkeys half fast enough. A nice quick double. Paolo takes home one, block grabs the other, but as soon as that anchor hit, dash, and a dead Leon. So much for that silence tongue.
Yeah, unfortunately, the lack of an actual invis that you can use on demand makes it difficult for the Leon to surprise anybody. So
what?
He has no invis. He cannot surprise people without an invis on that chameleon. So just going to show that sometimes base abilities, even though they don't do damage, can still be useful. And in that case, maybe that's something that they can think of in the future. Right now, things not looking super good for them. All-Stars lagging behind 7 kills, 21 minutes into this game.
It's very similar to game number 1, isn't it?
Yeah, very similar to game number 1 indeed, but certainly a little bit more action-packed. As Boom going for that more aggressive play style and build. It's starting to pay off. Max damage dash and 2 ranks of pills now on Blah. He's going to be much harder to kill. Frog. Paolo currently sitting there with the 2 ranks of pills, silence and size on his cloud, which Harry Butchers now has caught up and done the same. He's just missing out on the ranks of pills that the other one does. So Harry Butchers aiming to hopefully burst people out, but they don't have the same amount of burst that the Team Boom does. Team Boom having access to grapple drop, almost max damage on that, and all they've got on the Leon so far is a couple ranks of backstab and one of the damages on that tongue. So
It's a difference of initiation, I think, at least in my eyes. I mean, we got Kaio here with the combo to initiate. Majority of the kills are happening because he's initiating.
Yeah.
We have finally, a silent stretchy tongue here from Kurt, but how often have we ever actually seen it used?
It hasn't been used first in a fight yet, just because he's had a hard time getting into a position where he can use it first. He's now got the invis, so that way he can use it. Surprise, surprise. We'll see if that ends up actually being a thing. Kurt's just waiting there on the sidelines to use it. And if he ever does get the chance, Paolo picking up the invis for the blue team. But Kurt, invisible forever. He can sit there and invis for as long as he likes because he's Leon and he doesn't care. Out comes the tongue onto Blah. That's going to send Blah running home for now. Harry Butcher's just barely going to escape. Ed Wiener going to do some damage as well. But that tongue onto Frog into the silence cloud meant that Blah could not stay in that fight. He had to back off. And that's what we're talking about here. That's what Kurt needs to continue to do. That's what AllStars needs to continue to do, is really work together as a team to pull these other teams, start fights on their own turf, on their own terms, and force the triple dash to go into a situation that maybe it doesn't want to go into. But right now, things are looking pretty bad for AllStars regardless. They're down to one turret, and that means that there's precious few places where Kurt can tongue people into a really disadvantaged situation.
Kurt is on the same solar gain right now as Kaio. There's actually the combo looking on top of Paolo, but Paolo's able to get out of the silence cloud and dash away. Low hit points abound, but still haven't seen this combo actually get a kill as of yet. It's still Team AllStars, though, fighting from behind in terms of the money. 5 and 5 makes about 1,000 difference, and, well, Blah is now feeling the wrath of the tongue. The tongue is, starting to really shine. These last few tongues have been absolutely fantastic. We've had the follow-up to them as well, and it has brought Boom members to their knees, but it hasn't put them in the grave. So, improvement is improvement, but I still feel like Team AllStars, this is a ticking time bomb match. They have to make something happen sooner rather than later in order to prolong it.
I'm not so sure how I feel about that. Honestly, the late game that Team AllStars has, thanks to that Leon rather than a Swiggins pick, I think adds a lot more in terms of their late game power and utility. But it all kind of depends on how long they can continue to have this game happen. Out comes the grapple. It's going to end up missing. The dash is coming out on both teams. Harry Butcher's really low. So is Kaio. Kaio getting assaulted. He ends up going down. Ed Wiener's NATO managed to pick him up. Harry Butcher's going to escape on the back end. Kurt going to sit in the back. He's going to go invis. He got a tongue off on the Paolo. He's not going to do anything. Blah going to have to go home and heal. And that's going to be an engagement that AllStars is going to take every day of the week. Barrier Magazine now picked up by the Swiggins. He is opting not to go for regen or boots quite yet. He does have now a damage shield all the time with that upgrade there. Piranha Gun being picked up by Blah, and another rank of pills on Paolo. On the AllStar side, we've got Ed Wiener now with boots, making him that much harder to catch. Out comes the 700 damage. The entirety of Team AllStar is going to have to back off as that well-placed dash out of Paolo going to cause them all to go down to below a third HP. So that was, these upgrades that, the two teams are picking up are more or less exactly the same. The only difference being, obviously, between the Leon and the Swiggins. And the Leon now doing a lot more in these fights. Now has picked up attack speed, so it's going for that kind of carry push potential. This really does ride a lot on Kurt and how he initiates these fights for his team, or whether or not he fails to do so, and then as a result, his team gets initiated on.
Even after that last fight, it's still 9-3.
Yep.
It's still very heavy emphasis here on top of Boom, and they're looking for these kills. They are starting to actually get really aggressive. Harry Butchers can't go anywhere. Silence Cloud comes out, doesn't stop the auto attacks, and now Kurt is in the midst of all things. He's going to be silenced out as well. Grapple will hit, Anchor won't, and just as good as it didn't, because that was Paolo coming in with that 700 dash. Core damage is now starting to mount. Kurt's going to be back in here. He might look for this burst on top of Paolo. He was in a good position for it, but the return dashes is enough just to keep him alive. Kurt has now got to play safe. Ed Wiener's now going to be down, and it's a one-man defense crew here from Kurt, and they are actually going to go for the kill instead of the core as they're dancing around. Maybe they just don't want to get bursted. Kurt did not get that tongue. It was just 1 millisecond too late. Either way, damage was done, kills were gotten, 11-3, and more cash now in the Boom's pocket. This is what I mean by, there's a time limit. The Solar will eventually outrun Team AllStar's comeback unless AllStars can continually get kills. And so far, they've had one to their name.
Yeah, they've not had a very good time of it lately. They've been having a very difficult time, like, just making this particular matchup happen. And that has a lot to do with coordination. Leon, obviously, the most important part of this little combo here. If they manage to get that tongue into the silence cloud, that's great. That's awesome. It's fantastic. They managed to pull somebody into a situation where they can't deal with it. But right there, you saw Paolo managing to survive, and then not only do that, but come back in with a 700 damage dash. His team now doing extremely well, even without him in that fight due to that. And now Edwiener going down to that burst combo. Now Blah trying to look to find something. He gets tongue silenced out of it. Then Harry Butchers comes back in the kill on the frog. It seems that everybody's eating frog legs for dinner. You got Leon over here. He's going to eat that grapple that anchor drop. But aside from that, it's going to be a frog for a frog in this game right now. Interesting pickup. We got Baby Curry Mammoth on the frog.
Yeah, man.
It makes a degree of sense because it does reduce the amount of time you're silenced.
And we got two separate sources of silence here.
We do. One of which is consistent and in the cloud, but the other one, it's a burst application out of the tongue. So now Blah, not your first pick if you want to tongue somebody. This is getting harder and harder for All-Stars to be able to get these pickoffs that they need.
Baby Curry Mammoth sounds a lot better than Regen at this point. We've talked about how Regen doesn't counter burst, it just counters sustain. And we don't really have like big dot classes in this, you know. We don't have Scolders, we don't have Nas. Nas the big offender there. Yeah, going for the Baby Curry, like it.
Me too. I think it's a good pickup. It's better than Regen in this situation, just because of the amount of burst that both teams are putting out. The other thing that I would like to put out, however, is that Admiral Swiggins, he's picked up pills, barrier magazines. He's now got a 10% shield at all times that stacks with his other shields, and he has got Regen. So Regen, when you have the amount of damage reduction that Swiggins has access to, it can be very powerful. Kurt getting picked off, and now this is where the entirety of Team Boom needs to make their move. This is where they really need to go ahead and abuse their advantage. If they don't, they're going to go right back to having a standstill and delay a game that they can really just win very, very soon. And right about now, Edwiener taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to go back and heal. Blah taking a lot of damage from Harry Butchers as well, but Harry Butchers healing right back up thanks to that solar cloud. Then Paolo doing a lot of the same. Edwiener putting out a dash, but it's not going to be enough to really dissuade the entirety of Team Boom from just putting out that core damage. Out comes the grapple. It's going to miss. You've got so much damage. It's almost done. That core not quite dead yet. Paolo getting picked off. That's gonna be a one. That's gonna be a 1. That's gonna be a 2. Now we got a 3 running away as fast as his squiddy little legs will go. And All-Stars gonna try to at least put in 1 or 2 cores, and they're gonna have no.
This is YOLO.
Yeah, this is YOLOable for sure. And they've got a frog who can do it. He's got access.
1
to
tower, 2 tower, not even touched, not even touched, full. We could literally, as soon as we get down, 3-man YOLO right in. 2 bars would not last between a frog, a frog and a Vinny.
This is true, but who knows? All-Stars maybe going to try to produce that lemming effect if at all possible. They're going to take out 2 towers right here, right there. And if they try to YOLO, then there's still going to be those rocket droids pushing forward. So they might not last long depending on how the Team Boom responds to it, but
where is that going?
who even knows? And yeah, right now things looking really good for Boom. They only need a little bit more to finish this game 30 minutes in, but they still need to play carefully. If they don't play carefully, there is a very high chance of them getting completely knocked out as well.
No, I got confidence. You can YOLO the core at this point. You still got 2 towers up.
Well, I'm not so sure, honestly, because
we will agree to disagree.
Yeah, it's still very much in Boom's court. They could definitely win this in a matter of seconds, so long as they just charge forward. But now,
right, that's what I'm saying.
The charge forward could, if it's dealt with properly, be very, very bad for their team. If they try to charge forward and they miscalculate, if they get caught out somehow, they could just get murdered, and that would leave their core wide open in a matter of seconds.
Murderfied.
That's my favorite word today.
I don't know, 2 bars. I would go with it. I would. 2 bars.
And Blue looking to put on the pressure if at all possible with that missed tongue on Kurt. They're going to end up just forcing the red team back for now, but the red team needs to continue the pressure and stop the blue team from really going forward. He's got attack speed now on the bubble gun. He's got a maxed out bubble gun, as much damage as he can buy along with the attack speed and the range. So Paolo going for that long-range poking build whenever he can. And the blue team's starting to establish lane dominance again.
They are not splitting up.
Yeah, they are not splitting up. They're just sticking together and trying to keep the lanes where they want them to be, which means to stay away from their turrets. Right now, Harry Butchers has got more of the same going on, except for instead of range, he's got the Codfather. So we'll see how that ends up working out for him. More damage at the expense of range. I'm not so sure how that'll turn out, but with everybody's builds kind of getting maxed out or getting close to maxed out at this stage, this late game stage of the game, that Codfather upgrade definitely going to come out into play. Paolo taking a tongue to the face. He's going to be able to put out the silence, but at what cost? Edwiener going down very hard. Now Harry Butchers taking a ton of damage. Kurt going to get those backstabs off onto Blah. Oh, that grapple. Almost enough to get the kill there, but Kurt being a slippery little chameleon. And now Froggy going for the YOLO. He's going in with the Thornfish. This could be game right here, right now. Down goes Harry Butchers. Nope, down goes the core, though. And that's going to be the end of the All-Stars in this matchup. They're going to take the 5-6 slot in this tournament and this top 8. And boom, going to now fight for their chance at one of the top 3 spots.
Yep, top 4.
Well, top 3-4 slot area. But yeah, yes. They're still fighting. They're in this to win this, if at all possible.
You got to be in it to win it. That's how you win lotteries, guys. If you didn't know, that's your mantra. If you got to buy it every week.
I always thought you were just buying a ticket of hope. But where you're looking at now,
you got to be in it to win it.
Fair enough.
Exactly. And in it to win it is exactly what Boom's going to be, because their next matchup is against our next lower bracket attendee, Ion.
Who do you think is going to win out of those two?
That's a tough one to call. I have a lot of confidence in Ion, but they couldn't even crack 99 cents. I'm not going to finish that thought, but at the same time, you know, Boom, they fought through 2-0, and now another 2-0. They're going on to their third set of best of 3s here in the lower. They've definitely got grit.
They have the grit to stand through this. They've been through now a best of 3,
yep.
Which went 1 and 2. They have been through a lot as a team. 4 qualifiers of fighting, and then this. Like, they've gone to the lower bracket, and they're now climbing up that too. So there's a very high chance that Boom is, you know, they are definitely a top pick here in this these last couple of teams that are left over. But at the same time, you can say the same for Ion. They're one of the top contending teams here, alongside Boss at 99 cents. With All-Stars out of the running, it's any man's game, really. 99 cents still obviously the team to beat, but the other 3 very evenly matched, absolutely, and any one of them capable of taking this.
Well, Ion versus Boom is going to do a best of 3 here on stream. We're going to get that rolling for you in just a moment. Boss waiting to fight off the victor there. Is it going to be Ion? Is it going to be Boom? I have confidence in Ion, but Boom is really like giving me a lot of hope that they actually have the grit to move on. Boss is another factor. Cannoli and Crew is another really solid team. They've been around forever. It's really hard to call which of these 3, but for sure it's going to be either Boss or the winner of this next